Okay, so let us just talk about briefly about I2C. Okay, I2C by itself allows communications between sensors, memory interfaces, etc. Alright, you can easily see that over here, these lines over here are all I2C bus. So I2C bus acts as a communication key to allow different devices to communicate with each other. Alright, it requires a two-wire interfaces where you have a serial data and you have a serial clock. Alright, so by the word serial means what? Okay, is that you send the information bit by bit. Alright, because if you still remember serial and parallel, if you have serial, you just send it one time and then second time, and then if you have other bits, you send it the third time. Alright, if it's a parallel, you together all of them, you send it all at one time, as we have seen in the last video. Alright, so therefore the serial data and the serial clock in your I2C sends bit one by one. Okay, in order to send the data, you need a clock to actually help you to synchronize your stuff. Alright, so therefore in the previous video, the definitions of what a synchronized, duplex or whatever are all being used in this scenario right now. Okay, but nonetheless, do not forget that you also need a ground. So therefore in this case, there is totally of three wires, not two wires. Okay, so be careful of that. If you want to know more about the SPI or the RM232 or RS232, you can watch the end of the end of the video on V6. Alright, you can go to the description, and then the description will tell you where are the stuff that talks about I2C and things like that. Or I can go on to look at it. Alright, so let's continue with the protocol. So now as we say, the I2C requires a protocol because there is so many devices. So in order for so many devices to interact with each other, you need a protocol to say that which comes first, which comes next, which are important, which are not important. When one is on, another should be off, things like that, right? So this page tells you why do we need a protocol. Okay, you can actually go and memorize. I think this is one nice question to ask also. So we just take a look lah. Okay, so the next one is that therefore how can the nodes be connected? Alright, how do we allow the I2C to connect it in a way that is easier to do things, right? Is that, for example, if you have a power supply, alright, VDD, okay, some VDD with a resistors, alright, over here it will always been set high. Alright, so for some reason your VDD is coming from Arduino lah, or your power supply, so to speak. So you always feedback to high, alright, or we can say that it's an active low system. Alright, because in active, alright, if there is certain power that is going on, it will always feedback low because there is no devices connect. As you can see, they are all open circuit. Alright, so therefore if such of the case that happens, if you were to connect with other devices also with circuit open, alright, then this means this will feedback to your Arduino telling that there is no device being tapped on. Alright, so no devices is being used. Alright, this is device A, alright, this is device B, this is C, this is D lah. Okay, so all the devices aren't on just yet. Alright, so therefore the logic for your SDA, your serial data, is actually high if there is no devices being tapped upon. Okay, if one of the device is being closed circuit, for example this one is closed circuit now, alright, it's closed circuit, alright, it's one full wire, alright, then this particular line will actually be removed, alright, and all the power will actually go into your particular device that you want. Okay, so you'll go into here, alright, and this tells you that you're gonna take in the data from this device. Alright, so Arduino itself will actually say that, okay, I'm going to take your device, I'm going to take your data from you, things like that. And after that, when it's not needed anymore, alright, then you open circuit again, and then this thing continues to be active high, active low all the way, alright, until the next time round there is another system that closed loop. Alright, you'll take in the power again and things like that. Alright, so therefore this is the meaning behind the simple method to actually see which device is being used. So when one device is being used, for example, if I close loop this one, alright, this means that all the powers are being used in for this device. Alright, so other device will not be affected. So if anything wrong, other device will also not be affected because all the powers are within this system right now. Okay, so this is a pretty easy and smart way to actually design your microcontroller, or so to speak, or your I2C design. Okay, so therefore and for some reason you requires a capacitor, alright, beside your whatever devices that you want, or you have other devices all along. Okay, so therefore there will be a capacitor that is parallel with all your stuff. Alright, so whenever your last switch, the previous switch, with, for example, if you close switch, all the power goes to it already. Alright, the next time you open up this circuit, alright, so it'll become like this, right? Okay, so the power actually fit into the capacitor first. Alright, you fill up the capacitor such that when you fill up already, alright, then everything becomes high again. Okay, so I repeat again. So at the first step, alright, your VDD will actually supply power to this. Alright, and when this thing, for example, this device is closed circuit, alright, so I'm gonna remove this one, it will become a closed circuit. Alright, then all the powers, alright, will actually go to this dude over here. Okay, will also go to this dude over here. Alright, and when this dude is opened up again, alright, the power actually go to the capacitor first, because it's gonna charge out the capacitor. Because if let's say, for example, over here at this point where this by default, all the power will actually go to the capacitor. Okay, the capacitor will charge up. Alright, as long as when you remove it, alright, and it comes here, alright, the capacitor will actually release some sort of stuff, I don't know what, but anyway, it will become empty. So the next time when you want to charge the next time if you want to have back this active low system, alright, where actively, if the logic over here is all 1, alright, when no device is being connected, alright, you need to first charge out your capacitor first, and then you'll become like this. So after you charge up already, this thing over here is just simply some nothing, right? Because it doesn't affect your systems anymore, because all your voltage or your VDD has already charged up your capacitor. Okay, so over here by default we want it to be like this, right? Because so that if the next time if something wants your device to be on, then all the powers will actually go to here, alright, ignoring this, right? So all the powers will go to this dude over here. Okay, and then therefore if the next time it opens up the new circuit, then the power will flow into this stuff, capacitor, things like that. And therefore normally you, for your VDD that is going to into your particular device that you want, right, the responses will be like this, because you require certain time to actually charge up your capacitor, and then the rest will actually go to your devices, things like that. Right, so you require a certain lagging time, alright, things like that. You just go and read that if you're free. Alright, therefore let's talk about the protocol for your I2C. Okay, that's not all along what we've been talking are all about why do we need a protocol and things like that, so that we can help us better understand we can better understand the flow of the stuff, and we can ensure that the system doesn't crop out and things like that. Alright, so therefore the I2C protocol itself helps you to maintain your devices neatly, in a way that if you need one devices, when you close the circuit, alright, the other device are untouched. Alright, the other device are untouched. Alright, only the one that you need is being used and things like that. Alright, so this applies for your SDA, alright, for your serial data, when you send your data, also apply to your serial clock. Alright, so normally the I2C also have a clock inside. Alright, and ensure that they float high when they idle, when no objects are being used. So float high means that over here they are all high, alright, and up to the point that when some of the circuit close, then all of them are not high. Only this particular one is grounded, and therefore this will feed back to your Arduino, which is over at some your microcontroller over here. Alright, this will feed back to the microcontroller, telling that okay, your system has tapped in some data and you need to do something already. Alright, and in order to know that if SDA change, so in order to know that if your if your this system, alright, is being closed circuit, if you want to know whether this system closed circuit already that is connected to ground, alright, let the way that this thing over here is a capacitor lah, alright. This capacitor is fully charged already. Okay, so I'll just put it over here lah. Okay, and then alright, ensure that the SDA can only change, your serial data can only change when your SCL is low. Alright, so when your SCL is low, in this case this is in the XCL domain, for example, this is SCL, which is your clock. So if your clock knows that alright, it's starting to take in certain stuff and this is low, then you're gonna feedback to your SDA that okay, SDA, please send your data out already. Alright, things like that. Alright, I'm just only briefly talking about it. Alright, because I don't even know how is it being worked out or things like that. But for you to better memorize this stuff lah. Okay, so SDA itself may change only when SCL is low. So it may change or it may not change. Okay, and as for this, SDA is valid when SCL is high. What does this mean that SDA is valid when SCL is high? Alright, SDA is a serial data bus. Alright, it's all the while we have been talking along. This particular line is your bus. Alright, your I2C bus. Okay, it is valid when your for example, this is SDA. This is the SDA bus, and you would also have a SCL bus also. I don't know where it is, but somewhere alongside the SDA, I think. Okay, so if your SDA is high, if your SCL, your clock is high, this means that your SDA, your data, should be valid. Alright, is valid because it allows you to tap in any power that you want. Alright, it is free will first. Alright, it doesn't interact with other systems just yet. Alright, so therefore it is valid for use. Alright, so the term valid is for valid for use. So your bus is valid for use. And when one of your circuit, for example, this one is being closed, alright, then over here is not valid for use already. Your SDA is being taken by this device A, for example, this is B, this is C. So your SDA is being taken because your bus has been taken on. Alright, so this is just the meaning of that. And it only occurs when your SCL is high. Okay, if your clock is high. But for some reason, sometimes your clock may be low, alright, and therefore your SDA may read that you are doing something. Alright, so there will be a little bit error here and there. Therefore this second sentence tells you that SDA may change when your SCL is low. Because sometimes, for some reason, your clock is low, your SDA may think that okay, it's time to actually do something. So therefore SDA will actually been taken by. So SDA itself will becomes off. Alright, so in this case, for example, if still the same thing, alright, this is your SCL. Right, if your SCL is suddenly low, alright, it is not high anymore, then your SDA may read as something like this, going downwards to some other pathways. Alright, so it is not valid for use for other stuff. So if you were to close this circuit, you can't tap any more powers. It is just being used by other devices, but these devices aren't actually existed because of some unknown understandings. I don't know where is it coming from. But anyway, at least you get a feel of how the meaning is going for the SDA and XCL, right? So the receiver sends a low acknowledgement bit to confirm receipt. Alright, I don't know which receiver is it talking about. Alright, I think that is the SDA or whatever. Or I think that the receiver is the one that is received your SDA. Alright, so for example, if you take in this over here, if you close this loop, alright, if I close this loop now, alright, this particular device, which is the device A, is the receiver of your SDA. So you actually send back to your Arduino stating that that is 0. Alright, which is what you say, right? So over here, the receiver will send a low acknowledgement to the Arduino to say that okay, I have received. Okay, let's carry on. Alright, so this is the meaning for this step. So the last two sentences is pretty much the same in which that your SCL, your clock has to be always high. So when your clock has to be always high, then you can actually start a transmission or finish a transmission. Okay, the transmission of your serial data. Alright, this is all SDA is your data. Alright, so you want to transmit your data, right? So you need a clock to synchronize. Okay, so therefore this data over here, if you want your data, alright, to start to transmit or finish transmitting, or you require your clock to be high. So when your clock is high, then the clock will tell you that, okay, I'm still counting, I'm starting to count how many data are you sending. Alright, so so this SEL is high means that when your clock is running, then this tells the system that, okay, I'm starting to count how many times you need to send your data from one place to another. Okay, so therefore if you don't find it pretty much understandable, in the next video I'll talk about it in terms of a graphical way of representing the S2C of how data are being transmitted. But as for this time round, alright, you need to know is that your data are transmitted in terms of bytes. So 1 byte has 8 bits. Okay, and then you just need to know that the master, which is your Arduino, will send a command to your devices, alright, such that it responds by sending a low acknowledgement bit. So you'll send a bit to tell Arduino that, okay, I have received your stuff. Alright, so all these messages that start with the address of the target, alright, which occupies at least 1 byte. So in other words, for example, you have 1 byte, alright, you have 8 bits. So I would believe one of the bit is being used to actually talk to the master, or talk to the Arduino that start to on. Alright, because the reason is that if you want to, because once you receive the stuff, you also need to tell, because if you receive, for example, how do I say? So for example, you have a device called Japan, some called Korea, and USA. You have 3 devices. Okay, if your SDA actually receive from the Korea, then although we know that the SDA goes into Korea, but the Arduino itself don't know where it goes, because you only know that, okay, something has stepped in my stuff, alright, somebody has taken my data, but I don't know who take my data. So therefore, in order to know who take my data, I need to know the address. So it comes from Korea. So in order to know the address, the courier will actually send an acknowledgement to the Arduino stating that, okay, I have received your stuff. Alright, so at least Arduino say, okay, it's like, alright, let's go. Alright, so therefore you continue to send in more bits, or to send your SDA data. Okay, so therefore these are the meanings within this page. Okay, so I'll leave you to the particular stuff, which is the previous page. So in the next page, I'll talk about how the bits are being, or how the byte are being sent. So see you there.